Hi there, I'm Tommy Gibbs, and I want to share with you my experience about 30 days or so ago attending the Yankees fantasy camp. Kind of give you a recap because I put a lot of videos and stuff out there doing the camp. It had been on my 20 on my bucket list for about 20 years, and every time it would come around, I'd talk myself out of it. But I figured at age 75, if I didn't do it pretty soon, it wasn't going to happen at all. By the way, I was the oldest camper there at 75, and there was some really good players. There was some there in the 30s, 40s, even 50s who played baseball on a regular basis. I don't play baseball on a regular basis, but I do love baseball. When I say I wasn't a diehard Yankee fan, that's pretty true, except when I was a kid growing up. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and I was the Yankees AAA baseball team's bat boy when I was 14 and 15. So I got to know a lot of the players that came through and eventually went to the Yankees. Someone like Al Downing, who you may recall, he was a Yankee great, and he was pitching. I'm not sure who was pitching for the time, maybe St. Louis, but he threw Hank Aaron's record-breaking home run ball to him in Atlanta. So anyhow, that's kind of how I got to be intrigued by the Yankees growing up around it, but really not one of those people that collects a bunch of stuff because I collect nothing. I like collecting money, but I don't collect anything like that. Anyhow, so it was a really cool experience. It starts on a Monday night with kind of a reception, and you end up on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 4 straight days. You play 2 games a day. I opted to go in 3 days early, have like a pre-camp, and you could sign up for the pre-camp, and it's 3 hours a day on that. Let's see, make my day straight. On that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Monday nights of reception. That's when the camp actually kicks off. It's 3 hours each of those 3 days. You go in, you work out, you take batting practice, you do some fielding drills, a lot of stretching. You do stretching every day, by the way. They have trainers that are always working with you on that sort of stuff. And there's always trainers on the field to deal with injuries because there's lots and lots of injuries. Someone said to start out slow and then back off or something like that, and nobody pays the attention to that. Everybody goes full bore. I think I was pretty well injured after the first day. On the first day, I'm a catcher. At least I was a catcher in college. I played in junior college, but I'm a catcher, and on the first day, I caught 13 innings, which is insanity, really insanity. So I was blown out by the first day. My running was just about done with pull hamstring muscles and that sort of thing. The camp is pretty cool the way they run it, though. The people that run that camp are amazing. The Yankee staff, they're really terrific. By the way, you may know this, but I think all the MLB, I'm getting all screwed up here. All the MLB teams have a fantasy camp, I believe. I think the Yankees is probably the most popular. They run a camp in November. They run one in January. I think you're supposed to be at least 30 years of age to attend it. But then they have other camps, I think, that are a little bit shorter than the one that we attended. They have a women's camp. I think they maybe have a father-son's camp or something like that. But those are shorter camps, I do believe. But it's really well run. The staff there are really amazing. The trainers or the clubhouse staff, they're all just so cool to work with. The whole goal in the camp, I think, from the Yankees' perspective, is for you as a person to really feel like you're a big league ball player. So they don't cut any corners. I mean, the locker that I had is Aaron Judge's locker normally. The facilities they use are the Yankee spring training facility in Tampa, Florida. It's right across the street from where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play their football games. It's a tremendous facility. The stadium is really, really nice. Even the other practice fields, you might call them, they're just top draw. I mean, the grass, you just cannot believe the quality of those fields. When I was growing up, we had dirt clogs in the field. It was just awful. And that also struck me about, as I was thinking through different things going on, how much better the facilities are today for kids just growing up in Little League, and the coaching they get is so much better. I mean, the coaching we got as a high school player, I think, was pretty lousy, and the fields, as I just mentioned, was horrible. But anyhow, the facilities are top drawer. You have use of everything that they have there. We weren't allowed to use the hot tubs or the cool baths or whatever they call them because of the COVID thing. They cut the number of teams back this year for our session. They usually have 8 to 10, and we only had 4 teams of about 14 players each. You're playing kind of a round robin sort of thing. Each day you're playing, a different team. You play 2 games a day. You play one in the morning, one in the afternoon. What's cool is every time you come back to your locker after a game, they're giving you something free. Shirts, T-shirts, pants, whatever, jackets, sweatshirts, lots of stuff. They give you a lot of stuff like that, and so that's pretty cool. You're really well taken care of. There's always a trainer on the field to deal with the injuries, and like I said earlier in this video, there are a lot of injuries. By the end of the week, most people aren't running very well. Most people are injured because they go all out. Even the younger ones, even the guys in their 30s. We had a couple of 30-year-olds on that team that could really, really play. And a lot of those guys can really play, because like I said, they play during the year. I mean, you'll really be impressed with some of them, no doubt. I think back on my playing days, and I thought I was a pretty good player, but as I start to unwind at this age, I realized I wasn't really that good at all, or at least it isn't coming back. Those skills aren't coming back if they were ever there. So I think as we get older, we either think we're a lot better than we were, or we realize, hey, we weren't really that good, and I'll go into that category. I was fortunate enough to have a good friend go with me by the name of Norm Nash, and that made it a really cool experience. Part of the experience that I didn't partake in really is that at nighttime, the pros that are working with you, let me back up on that. The staff that they have there, the coaches that you have are former Yankee greats. People names that you would recognize, especially if you follow the Yankees. And some of them may not have played for the Yankees, but a couple of years or so, but they're still part of the Yankee family. And they love doing the camp because they get to hang around their friends, their former teammates, and they get to hang out with us, and they become really good friends with some of the campers. We've got one camper that I think this was the 25th year of the camp, and one guy has attended all 25. And a lot of these people go to the camp every year. Some of them go to 2 camps a year because there's one in November and one in January. One of the cool things, as I mentioned, though, is at nighttime, everybody kind of goes to the bar, which I don't do that, but they go to the bar and they hang out and they talk, and the former Yankees tell you really cool stories. And one of them I heard about was they were talking about George Steinbrenner, one of the pros, and I forget who it was. I'm sorry, I forget who that was. But one of the pros was talking about Steinbrenner, and he had a rule that you had to be back in your hotel rooms by 2 o'clock in the morning. Now keep in mind that, I guess these guys they're young and they got a lot of spunk about them. They go out and have a good time when they're traveling these different cities and whatever. But Steinbrenner had a rule that you had to be in by 2 o'clock in the morning. So one night this player is out with several other newer players to the Yankee organization. And he says to them, look, when you go back to the hotel tonight, if you go back after 2 o'clock in the morning, make sure you don't sign that kid's baseball. They said, what? What kid's baseball? There'll be a kid in the lobby that's going to try to get you to give him an autograph on his ball. If you come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, that kid's going to be there, try to get you an autograph on the ball. And whatever you do, don't sign it. Now, that kid was being paid by Steinbrenner to be in the lobby. And if you sign that ball, he's going to give it to Steinbrenner, and Steinbrenner is going to know that you were out after 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's one of the places, well, how did you know? He said, hello, I got caught. But anyhow, that's some of the fun stories, and there's many, many of them players, and they're just really great, genuine people. They're fun to be around. Mickey Rivers is the coolest. He talks, and I don't like to use a lot of profanity in a video or anything that I do like this. I use a lot of profanity, though. But Mickey's talking shit all the time. He's really a funny guy and a great human. The camp is pretty expensive. I think the camp is around $5,200. And if you do the 3 extra days, which is a really good deal to do the 3 pre-camp days, I think it's $350 for the whole 3 days. That's a really good deal. And then if you want a private hotel room, which I did, I think that was an additional maybe $300 or $600. I forget which, but it was over $6,000 for whatever I did. But you don't have to do it that expensive. And I live in the Tampa area, and live down in a place called Treasure Island, which is just west of Tampa. And based on the schedule, I could have driven probably each day, but I did have a room and that sort of thing. So it kind of depends on how much money you want to spend. But I think it's a really worthwhile experience. You got to kind of decide that for yourself one day if you think you want to go to the Yankees camp or another fantasy camp. It's a pretty grueling week, though, I got to tell you. I mean, I'm in pretty good shape for almost any age, and certainly somebody my age, and I worked out a little extra hard 30 days before the camp, and it was just grueling. I mean, again, by the end of the camp, nobody's running the bases very hard. Even those young stud 30-year-olds, as I would think of them, they're all struggling. They modify the rules. The rules are pretty cool. If you're playing a position and you want to come out of the game for an inning or two, you can come out and then you can go back in. So that's a pretty good rule modification. Your coaches pitch to you, so it's kind of like coach pitch. You know how they do, I guess, in some of the youth leagues. So it's coach pitch, and the reason for that is a whole bunch. A, you wouldn't have enough pitchers to get through all those games. You just couldn't. You just couldn't do it. B, they want to throw strikes. They want you to get a hit. Now, that's the fun part of it. So they're not trying to strike you out. They're trying to serve it up to you there so you can get a hit. They if by chance one of them serves up 4 balls and it's a walk, you as the batter can opt to either go ahead and take the base, or you can have someone else on your team take the base, and you get to have a fresh count and a fresh bat because, again, they want you to enjoy the game. Now, in the last 3 innings of the game, and the games are all 9 innings, by the way, in the last 3 innings of the game, if you opt, you can have one of your pitchers pitch, one of your players pitch, because maybe it's a close game and you really want to try to strike the other team out or get the other team out. You can do that, but if you walk 2 batters, then you have to put another pitcher in. So that's kind of one of those rule things. And the other part of the rule is that you're playing really with equivalent of 10 people because you can have an extra play on the field, much like you would in softball. So the rules are somewhat modified. You can have someone run for you, and they have a way of doing that. If you had a couple of old guys there that could bat and they could play a little bit in the field, but they really couldn't run down the first base. So they'll have a runner run for you, and they have a way of setting it up so it makes sense. But it's just such a cool experience, and those rule modifications help the game. They don't hurt it at all. Trust me. I wish I could share more with you, and I'll probably think of a whole bunch of stuff once I log out of here. But it was a fun week. It's a grueling week. If you can attend with someone you know, that makes it a lot better. I think it was for me, even though most people think I'm an extrovert. I'm a bit of an introvert, so that really made it a lot more fun. So anyway, reach out to me sometime if you have questions about it. I'd be happy to ask them. But if you're getting up in the years and you think, I'd really like to do this, and maybe you should, because I love baseball. The older I get, the more I have an appreciation for the game. And I also have a great appreciation for the skills of these players. One thing I left out, so I knew I'd think of something else. One thing I left out is on the last day, that Saturday, you play against the Yankee greats. You only play an inning or 2 against them. So they want you to play against the Yankees. So the coaches the guys who've been your coaches, the players, they're now going to play against you. And they served that ball up pretty well. I mean, they're not probably trying to do too much to you, but they serve it up pretty well. And it's pretty cool to think you got a hit off of a Yankee great. So it's a lot of fun. They have fun with it. I'm amazed by their skills, even though most of these guys that the coaches are in their 50s or so, you can just tell there's a big difference between those guys and even our 30-year-olds, really and truly, with their skill level. It's a great game. It's a hard game to play. I think that if anything, it gives me an even greater appreciation for what those guys do. I'll tell you one great play that happened in our game against them. So I'm catching. And we've got a guy run on first base. I actually think it was Mickey Rivers, but I don't remember for sure. And we got a little guy playing second base. He's from Mississippi. He's about 50, 55 years old. And he plays at home, I think, some. But anyhow, long story short, and again, I forget who the batter was, but I called for a breaking pitch. We'd like to get a ground ball, maybe try to get a force at second or a double play. And believe it or not, we have some pretty good double plays that happened during the course of the week. And some really great plays in the field, too, and this is one of them. So whoever was batting hits a line drive to the right side of where the second baseman is playing. And that guy makes a diving catch and then doubles up the runner from second base by throwing back to first off of his knees. I want to tell you what, the Yankee pros thought this was amazing. I mean, they really get into the whole cheering thing. So it was really some pretty cool things that happened there. Anyhow, I'm going to make this a wrap. It's been way too long anyway. But if you have any questions, reach out. I'm Tommy Gibbs. Thanks, and have a great day.